Hey art friends, and welcome back to the Mandakyns Channel. Today we'll be learning how to make a variety of DIY steampunk molds using the Amazing Mold Putty. You can use this to make molds for resin, food, soap, wax, clay, and more. I'll probably be using it for resin and clay. It is a 2-part mold mixture. These are the instructions that comes with. I will be using this measuring spoon set in 1/2 tablespoon parts. What you do is you combine the same amount of part A and part B, and then you knead it together very well. Within about 2 minutes of beginning to knead this, it is ready to begin creating your mold. Here I'm using a piece of wax paper and a brayer to flatten it out. You can also use an acrylic roller, as you'll see me use, or also a broad knitting needle. And here I am placing different findings into the different molds. First I'll make hinges. Then I will add some propellers and some clock keys. Next, I am going to create one that's a little deeper and has clock keys in it as well. If you didn't make it wide enough, you can always pull out your roller again and press it a little bit flatter, but you will want to make sure that you don't press all the way through to the other side. Otherwise, you do risk ruining your mold and popping a hole in the bottom. Always make sure to do it thick enough and to press them down sufficiently. Here I'm using a wooden poker to do so. These are clock faces. I'm also going to be placing a few clock hands to finish this particular mold set. And it does take and represent fine details very well. The next mold that I'll be making is gears, a bunch of steampunk gears. And so often I have implements that I don't want to use up in a creation because I'm worried I won't be able to recreate them. So this is a perfect way to do that. And the next mold that I'm making is with keys and some different lock settings, and I'm using the knitting needle here to roll that out a little bit further so that I can place one more piece into the mold. Here I'm placing compasses and the needles that point north or south. I have a few of them. I'm also going to place some bolts. I have a couple different sizes. This one's a smaller one. And here are some different pointer needles. Not exactly sure what they're called. If you do know what these particular implements are, they're like hands almost on a watch, but it's specific to compasses. And you'll also want to make sure that you're pressing them down, whatever you're trying to mold, into the mold far enough. These are the finished molds. It's been about 30 minutes and I am unmolding them. First I'll unmold the hinges, which was the first set that I did. And you want to be careful, especially around any of the little holes, that you don't accidentally tear those. I'm noticing that the prints came out very well. And this is a small spatula. It's a clay tool, and I'm using it to pry up my pieces from the tile that I placed them on. And also, you'll note that if you get anything into your mold, that it will become a part of your mold when you are finished. And the propellers and keys turned out really nice. I was happy with that. And here are the compasses and the little hands. The keys also turned out fantastic, as did the locks. Now on the back side, I noticed I did not mix this one completely, and there's also another spot where I almost pushed it through a little too far and could potentially have broken my mold. So I wanted to include my mistakes to share with you. Here's another where I feel like I could have pressed these down much further. So I did another example where I showed one that had better impressions of gears and my clock faces. These are all of the finished molds. I really like the look of these steampunk elements that I can add to any project, and I'm really excited to be able to show you how I'm going to include those in my projects. You can see both my successes and my failures, so hopefully this tutorial has given you some ideas of what to do and what not to do. If you found this content helpful, please leave us a like. Thanks so much for watching, and happy arting!